Alrighty, let's go over how to solve monohybrid crosses. Remember, we will be using the same 4 steps in every single problem that is a monohybrid cross. Now, before we get into those steps, let's go ahead and take a glance at the paragraph, which says, in corn, normal kernels are dominant to waxy kernels. If you cross the waxy kernel plant to a heterozygous normal plant, what type of seed would be produced? Now, that was a lot of information, so we have to break it down, and these 4 steps are going to help us. The first thing that we want to do is assign letters, and by that we mean assign a dominant or a recessive letter to the phenotypes. Now, if we go back to the paragraph, the first sentence is most likely going to give you that information. So we're going to highlight it. We know that we're talking about normal kernels and waxy kernels. Now, since normal says that it's dominant, we're going to write it down as a capital A, and we can pick any letter in the alphabet. In this case, we went with A. So we're going to use capital A for normal because it says it's dominant. And if this one's dominant, the other trait must be recessive, which if we go back to the paragraph, we know that it's waxy. Now, after we have assigned the letters to those phenotypes, we're going to do step number 2, which is to find the parent genotypes. Now, for this step, we want to read the paragraph very closely. We're not going to make up these combinations. We have to get them from the paragraph. Now, it says, if you crossed, that's an indication that's going to tell me that it's about to tell me what the parents have or what they look like. So it says that we have a waxy kernel plant. I'm going to highlight that. And we're going to cross it to a heterozygous normal plant. Now that I've highlighted this, I'm going to use it to type in my genotypes. Now, if you remember, a genotype is a combination of 2 letters, and I want to point something out. We're going to write 2 letters under the parent genotype. We did not do that for step number 1. Step number 1, all we were doing is writing or typing in 1 letter. Now, we're going to go back to the parent genotypes. We know that the first parent is waxy. It has waxy kernels. So if we go to the list, I know that waxy is recessive. So I'm going to write a recessive allele. Now, if I start small, I want to stay small. So I'm going to write that genotype as 2 recessive alleles. Homozygous recessive. Now, the second parent is heterozygous. Since they're heterozygous, I know that means different, I'm going to type it in as 2 different letters. By that, I mean a capital and a lowercase. So this is what my combination would look like. Now, after I have my parent genotypes, we can set it up. We're going to take one parent and we're going to place it at the top. We're going to take the second parent. We're going to place it on the side. It really doesn't matter which one you place at the top or on the side. I just like to put parent number 1 at the top. Now that we've set it up, we can cross it. So all I'm going to do is bring down these letters. I'm going to copy them down. Here we go. So I copied a recessive A in every single box. And then I'm going to take this genotype and I'm going to copy it across. I'm going to take the dominant A, copy it across, and then I'm going to do the same thing for the recessive A. Now notice that although I brought this recessive A down first, I still put the capital A before that lowercase. We would never put a dominant allele after a recessive. You want to keep the capitals first. Now, the last thing that we're going to do before we actually write our percentages or our ratios, we are going to write the phenotype inside each box. I want to keep track of what the offsprings could look like. So if I look at this box, I know I have a dominant allele. That even though I have a recessive allele, the dominant one will win. So that's going to make this offspring have normal kernels. Now, the same for this one. It has a dominant allele. This one only has recessive allele, so I know that's going to be waxy, and so is the next one.